Hey folks, Kayak DIY here, and right now we're going to discuss anchors and which kind you maybe should buy. Number one problem I notice with people new to kayaking is they buy the first anchor that they see, which usually, in many cases, in most stores, will be the folding anchor. Most stores seem to carry this style. Nothing wrong with it, but it might not be the best solution for you. So what you really should do is look at what kind of bottom you're going to be having in the area that you fish or kayak from. So when you guys are kayaking, if you guys are more in a muddy bottom or maybe just coasting and drifting down the river, you might want a little bit different anchor setup than someone who's going to be going off the beach, maybe down here in Florida where it's a sandier bottom. So let's get started. We'll discuss the different types. Let's discuss the mushroom anchor. So the mushroom anchor, this is actually designed more for a permanent mooring solution. So permanent anchor. What happens is it ends up sitting on the muddy bottom, which this is designed for a muddy clay, river-like bottom. And what happens is that debris slowly packs over top of this, creating a solid anchor point. This is likely not the best anchor solution for you kayakers because you're probably not going to be keeping an anchor. You're not going to stay anchored in that spot long enough for this to be probably a solid anchor. These are not good for temporary anchoring solutions. They will end up not grabbing well and they will drag. Just not a good choice. Good anchor, bad use. Next, let's go with probably one of the most versatile anchoring solutions, and that is this Lumar or Bruce Claw Anchor. I have two different ones here. This one is a 4.4 pound. This one here is a 2.2 pound. Now, we'll get into sizing later here in the video, but this is probably the most versatile. This is what I use the most probably down here in Florida. So it's great for that sandy bottom, that gravel bottom, anything that's somewhat loose, because what happens is this ends up digging in and that debris packs over top of these claws and ends up holding you in place. So yeah, great anchor. What I like about it is, for one, aside from like the folding anchor, when you use a folding anchor, what happens is sometimes it picks up debris in those folds and those hinge areas, and then you put that on the kayak and then it ends up everywhere. It's really difficult to clean out the folding anchors. This cleans off a lot easier. You can actually drop this piece into your milk crate. If you have like PVC rod holders or just rod holders in general, this can slide right in them and hold the anchor in place. So pretty nice setup. This is one of my favorite anchors. This is how I set up the claw anchor. This also applies to the folding anchor as well. I use a zip tie on the back end, and that way if my anchor becomes snagged on something on the bottom, I can break that zip tie by pulling on the rope and my anchor will be free. So when you're in the flats water, you're probably going to want to have an anchor pole. So this is what we use in the flats water down here in Florida a lot, but I'm sure there's guys in Texas and several other areas in the flat water that use these as well. This is an anchor stick, and how it works is guys will have anchor trolleys on the side of their kayak. With the anchor trolley, you simply take your anchor stick and you stick it in the ground, just like that. And then you can grab the other side of the anchor trolley and you just simply pull the line, and that will move this ring up and down the trolley. So based on where the wind is, you can adjust your angle so you're facing towards the action wherever the fish are. Some people use what's called drift chains, and so they'll take chains, like generous size chains, like maybe the 3/8 inch chain links. They'll take maybe a section about like this, and they'll stick it inside a bike tube, and they'll zip tie the end, and they'll run a line to the other end, and that makes basically a drift anchor. Okay, next. One of the really cool products that I use quite a bit, now not everyone maybe will like them, I really do. I think it's handy to have. I actually even use it with the anchor trolley. I use it as like a pair with the anchor trolley, is this anchor lock. Now, they had these at ICAST, they've been around for a little while. But these things are awesome. It's a Scotty product. I love Scotty products. They're ridiculously tough. You're not gonna break this. I mean, I would struggle to break this thing, especially with normal or even hard use. But you run the line, your anchor line, through this, and it comes out here, runs over the roller, and it comes out this bottom here. And so your anchor line comes down here. This mounts onto a standard Scotty 241 mount. So this here is the Scotty anchor lock, and it locks onto a Scotty 241 mount. You pop it out, pop back in, you can change the angle in which you want to lock it down. You let out your line by simply lifting up, and what that does is it allows the line to move freely. Once you let go of that and you pull on the anchor end of the line, it will actually pull that little block down and it locks the line so that it can't go anywhere. There's a nice little roller right here. Keeps everything running smoothly. If you were to end up getting hung up, or let's say you need to release the anchor pretty quick, you could just pop this off and throw it overboard. You're not going to break that thing. I mean, that thing is built very well. So that's an option for you guys. For you that maybe say, hey, you know, I need something that can release quickly because that's a safety issue. The next thing that I didn't discuss were some of the anchors that I don't have, because these are places maybe that I don't go, so I don't need these anchors. Well folks, here are some anchors that I wasn't able to show you. So we have the river anchor, which is obviously great for rivers. It helps in fast currents, and it specifically is good for rock and muddy bottoms. We also have the Richter anchor, which is good in a variety of bottom conditions, and it has a release bar for aiding in retrieval. We have the drift chute, also known as the drift sock here, which helps slow your drift. And we have the loss-proof anchor, designed by Captain Kenroy. It has concrete inside the PVC, and these copper tines hook onto rocks and can be bent back and forth. We have a weight and a dog leash set up here. So really, there's a lot of options out there for anchors. Please comment below with what you use.